Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for joining us today. And I want to go back to a series of questions that you answered with the Chairman regarding economic analysis. You stated in later questioning that the EPA would not propose a rule where the costs exceed the benefits. Earlier, though, you said that, and you said that you did an economic analysis, but that economic analysis did not do a jobs analysis. Is it standard procedure for an economic analysis to ignore the impact on jobs?
Well, we didn't do a direct analysis, and again, we sought further.
So you did not do a direct economic analysis?
No, we did a direct economic analysis of the various potential costs that we've identified, which includes cost of compliance by the utility sector, the cost to the states, as well as various benefits.
But not a cost on jobs?
Not directly.
So what you did do a cost on jobs then? Indirectly?
Well, we just looked at the direct cost from complying with the rule.
So you did or you did not do jobs?
No.
So is it standard procedure then for an economic analysis to not include jobs?
Well, and I can get back to on the specific details of how we do economic analysis. We do economic analysis based on the direct consequence of our rule.
So you don't think your rule will have direct consequences on jobs?
Well, I mean, we did an analysis of the various costs of that, and clearly we're cognizant of the economic consequence of our rule.
So it does have an economic consequence?
Sure, but we looked at both the cost and benefits of the rule.
But you didn't look at jobs?
Not directly, no. So we looked at, for example, the impact on the utility industry. And clearly...
So there's no impact on the utility industry on jobs?
Well, we didn't do that direct analysis. So there is an impact on cost to the utility industry, and that translates to potential increase, as I noted earlier, some rise in utility rates.
So do you believe then that that an economic analysis that fails to show the full picture on jobs, is that an adequate economic analysis?
Well, I mean, we think we did a comprehensive analysis of the total cost of the cost and benefits of the rule. But clearly, we received a lot of data on various forms of economic analysis that we're looking at it very hard right now.
So let me just ask that question, and I think it's a yes or no answer. Do you believe that an economic analysis that fails to show the impact on jobs, is that a complete economic analysis?
Well, clearly we all, and the President has made that commitment. We have to look at job consequences of everything.
So then the answer is no, it's an incomplete economic analysis.
Well, I think the economic analysis pertinent for every rule is going to differ. And I can get back to you on the reasons.
Well, no, I just would like to know, I mean, is it your position, is it the EPA's position that an economic analysis that fails to take into account jobs, is that a complete economic analysis? I mean, to me, I don't know how you can talk about economic analysis without talking about jobs. So I guess I'd like to know, and you said that you would not propose a rule where the costs exceed the benefits. Yeah. But if you're not taking into account jobs, I just don't see how that goes. What other rules has your office or the EPA promulgated that hasn't focused on jobs or taken into account jobs?
Well, I mean, I will get back to you on the rules. But
yeah, I'd like to see a list of all the rules you proposed that haven't taken into account jobs. And then the executive order that was issued, will you ask for a review under the look-back provisions of the executive order so that it does take into account the effect on jobs?
Well, clearly we would look at any job consequences.
But you haven't, and you said you won't, and you didn't.
Well, as I explained earlier, we have to look at the direct consequence of the rule. And so to the extent that there are direct job consequences, we will take a look at that.
So you have taken a look at jobs?
We have not directly taken a look at jobs.
But you just said you would, that your answer just then said that you would take a direct look at direct jobs.
Yeah.
So you have or you haven't?
Not directly in the rule, in the proposed rule.
I guess I'd like an explanation to know whether or not the EPA considers jobs in their analysis, whether you have, and whether or not the EPA's position is to consider jobs when it does an economic analysis.
We definitely consider the consequence of jobs in all our economic analysis.
But you didn't
But the form of the economic analysis is really driven by the requirements of the rule.
This sounds like an answer for, well, anyway, I think Yogi Berra could have some interesting comments on we have, we haven't.